Hello everyone, Raxel1447 here, and welcome back to another episode of Creepypasta Investigations. I'm a little bit hindered to this one because I don't have my notebook. I don't know where it went. It disappeared somewhere, so I'm hoping someone didn't take it. So I have a temporary replacement for now. So, I've done a Pokemon Creepypasta in the past, and to be honest, the Pokemon Creepypasta ones are pretty much my favorites. I'm not entirely sure why I like them so much, maybe because I'm a huge Pokemon fan, but maybe there's something more to the games than we think. And there's a lot of things the games don't explain. Of course, the mystery of any video game is, what do the characters do when you're not playing the video game? I mean, do they just stand there, or do they, do the characters of the game get around, just piss about or something? Who knows? And also, we're also going to take a look at how video games act as a failsafe to someone. When someone is having a hard time in real life, they usually escape to the imaginary worlds of video games. They travel to different worlds with Sora, Donald, and Goofy in Kingdom Hearts. They travel around, try to become Pokemon Master in Pokemon, and they trying to travel around, trying to be that Master Thief and completing quests in Skyrim and whatnot. So a game can truly become a part of us, especially in times of need. Of course, my escape was Kingdom Hearts and drawing when I was in middle school. My time had turned incredibly rough. Phoenix, stop jumping on the laptop. But what happens if we also stop playing a game? What happens to the characters there? More specifically, what happens to the Pokemon when we stop playing a game? When we get bored of the Pokemon game, we decide to stop playing it. Do they just remain static in the last save file, or do they do something altogether? Well, I'm here to take a look at that. When someone has forgotten an old friend, and that old friend comes back to haunt them. This creepypasta is called Jessica. It's a creepypasta about, I'm going to assume, it's not entirely clear, but I'm going to assume that it's about a girl named Cameron, as far as I could tell. And she had a Pokemon Yellow game, and she nicknamed her Pikachu Jessica. She and Jessica had a lot of great times. They tackled the Elite Four multiple times, and when the adventures continued, when she was traded over to Pokemon Crystal eventually. Even though in Crystal she accidentally evolved into a Raichu, they were still close as a human being can get to a character in a video game. Trust me, I know how that feels. Call me someone who has no life, but if someone plays multiple video games, it's not like they don't have a life, it's that they choose to have many. Okay? However, this girl's real life wasn't that great. Her mother was dying, and she was naive about it all, and she was being teased at school and whatnot. You know, the generic teen high school drama. Well, minus the mother dying part. I feel kind of bad about that. And she turns to video games because they're her fail-safe, and they're her savior, and they're her escape, which is once again understandable. I mean, come on, we all want to escape to the land to Hyrule instead of doing homework. Let's think about it here. So basically, the Pikachu kept her going. Pikachu to Raichu kept her going. However, one day, Cameron came home from school in a rage, and, people have been teasing her multiple times and whatnot, and in a blind rage, she just pretty much threw everything around her room, destroyed her room, and she wasn't careful enough, and when she began cleaning, she found out that she had broken her yellow game cartridge. And, of course, you might be just thinking, well, it's just a broken game. How's this warrant a creepypasta? Well, you'll see. I actually quite like this creepypasta. It's one of the first ones I read, with Lost Silver being the very first. But Jessica was the second one I read, and it's one of my favorites. So, she was sad, but then she moved on, and she eventually forgot about Jessica and Yellow. And she eventually got Pearl and then Black. So, one day, she was trading over some of her Pokemon from her Soul Silver to Black, and she discovered that she had gotten a Pikachu in her Pokewalker. And she developed multiple personality disorder, so while she was having, and I know how that feels too, while she was having a conversation with her other two personalities about what to name the Pikachu, her hand was unconsciously tapping at the bottom screen, and the Pikachu was named Jessica. And she began to notice something was wrong. She tried to get that Pikachu to evolve into a Raichu using the Thunderstone. And hang on, I have the pasta up. And she tried to let it evolve, and it didn't work. Instead, a dialogue box came up, and it said, "Remember me?" And she was confused. She didn't know what that was. So she thought, haha, it's a joke in reference to Pokemon Yellow where your Pikachu wouldn't accept the Thunderstone. So she tried it again, and it said, "Jessica's refusing to take the stone." Refusing? No, the Pikachu's done that before outside Pokemon Yellow. So she closed the bag and walked around a bit, and when Jessica was level 60, she tried it again, and another text box came up and said, "It's not going to work. Now do you remember me?" Now she was starting to get a little bit creeped out. So she brought up her Pikachu status, and it wasn't moving like the other sprites, but she looked angry. Her head, and this is quote for quote, her head was crouched a little and her eyes were narrowed, her cheeks sparking occasionally. She hadn't been like that when I first gotten her. Worried it could be Pokerus or something, or some form something equivalent, I took her to Pokemon Center to see if the little message saying you had Pokerus came up. When I spoke to Nurse Joy, she healed my Pokemon. They began saying something else, but what she said wasn't what I was expecting. "Oh my, seems your Jessica isn't very pleased with you. Did you do something to upset it? You should take better care of your Pokemon." So she thought, was it a glitch or something? The other two voices in her head were screaming at her to be more careful, but she kept going. So, a little bit more training, she brought up the status again, and the dialogue box said, "You are a liar, cruel, heartless killer," and that's when she knew something was wrong. Sorry, I'm not all me today. So basically, she began to connect the dots. Said this Jessica was possibly the Jessica from her Yellow, the one that she had accidentally destroyed. But she tried to apologize, but it wasn't enough, so Jessica said, at the top of Celestial Tower, "I will wait for you." Celestial Tower is the Pokemon Tower of Unova. You know, ever since Lavender Town, we've had our little Pokemon towers throughout the game. In Gold, Silver, and Crystal, we had Fuji's funeral home when Pokemon Tower got turned into Radio Tower, which was the stupidest idea ever, but that's just my opinion. We had Mount Prior, I think, in Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, and we had the Lost Tower in Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, and now we have Celestial Tower, where you can find one of the best fire types ever in Black and White. So she travels up Celestial Tower, and she noticed that she knows that Jessica was no longer in her party, but looking over her Pokemon, she noticed some changes. The cries were not sounded, their sprites were frozen, and the sprites themselves were also only done in a certain monochrome colors, such as red, yellow, blue, and whatnot, and it was done in large, blocky pixels, just like the Generation 1 games of red, blue, and yellow. And I really want to play Pokemon Red now. This sucks. So she traveled up the tower, and not only Jessica was waiting there, but Belle, Sharon, Alder, and N. Belle, is that her? I'm trying to think. Is that her American name? Belle? I don't quite remember. Bianca, that's her American name. She must use a Japanese name. And they each said different things. Belle, or Bianca, said, "Cameron, how could you do such a thing?" Sharon, possibly one of my least favorite characters in that entire game, said, "I looked up to you. How could you betray me?" Alder, champion, said, "This is unforgivable, but maybe she will." And N, your super creepy stalker, said, "You said that you wanted Pokemon and people to live in peace. Then why did you..." So she went up to the tower, and there's the Raichu from the yellow version, or Crystal, whichever. Jessica sitting up at the top. And she began to show her the damage that Cameron had done. And that what was happening inside the game cartridge. What happened when Cameron had that fit of rage, that little hissy fit, where she wasn't careful enough and destroyed the yellow game. So, Cameron explains that it was an accident and that she wasn't careful enough, but she didn't want to do it on purpose. And surprisingly, Jessica chose to believe her and forgive her. And in the end, Jessica rejoined her party with her stats exactly how they were in Pokemon Yellow, and she had the missing yellow cartridge part because lots of the little pieces of the cartridges were missing, and Jessica ended up having the last one. Somehow, someway. It's a creepypasta. Don't think too much about it. Now, I found it kind of odd and kind of nice. A creepypasta with a happy ending. I mean, there was forgiveness, and unlike another Pokemon creepypasta that brings to mind involving a Pikachu, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about or not. I might do that one next, but I have another one in mind. But, I was awfully surprised to learn that, in the end, Cameron was forgiven. And that's actually kind of nice. It's a nice, happy ending. But not all creepypastas like that have their happy ending, as you all may know. So, is there really a possibility of something like this happening? Well, there could be a few things. For one thing, I would think poltergeists. Poltergeists love to mess around with modern-day electric devices. I mean, look at Rotom. Rotom's practically a poltergeist. I don't know, maybe a poltergeist could be in the game reminding Cameron of her mistake. But could this really happen that's not poltergeist related? Well, who knows? Stranger things have happened. And believe me, with the year 2012, there's been claims of many, many, many strange things happening. Birds falling out of the sky, whales and porpoises turning up on the beaches dead, strange noises being heard up in the atmosphere. It's crazy out there. So if all that's happening, why not a haunted cartridge or two? And this one was probably a little bit weak, yes, but there's honestly nothing really else to explain about this, so maybe I should just go back to conspiracy theories. Who knows? Who knows? I'm Raxel1447, and I'm tired and I need a Coke. I hope you enjoyed this installment of Creepypasta Investigations. I know I owe you guys 2 this week, so I'm gonna say give me till Thursday, maybe Friday, and by then I'll make up my mind what I want to do, and hopefully by then I'll find my Creepypasta Investigations book. Alright, bye-bye.